Welcome to Your Good News. I'm Rena Sargentopoulos. This is a show dedicated to nothing but things that will make you smile or at least help you find hope and faith in humanity. The world is a rough place, and sometimes we just need to hear some of the good things that are going on. Well, the Twin Cities Marathon is fast approaching, and in the lead up, we're taking a look at what gets people to go the distance on such a challenging goal. For some, it's a way of life, and for one, it was almost taken away. We spent some time with a man who cleared a big hurdle with a little medical magic along the way.
Midweek run is usually about 7, and then on the weekend I'll do a long one.
David Kittleson has recorded more miles on these roads than a hand-me-down Ford. The now retired orthopedic surgeon started running back when he was a resident.
I ran my first marathon in 1989 up at Grandma's. It's a lot of work, and by mile 20 you say, I'll never do this again, this is awful, and then you cross the finish line, and it's such an exhilaration and so much fun. You know, after a while, when you're not hurting anymore, all of a sudden you're online signing up for another one. So.
Boy, did he ever. One right after the other. Throw in 13 full Ironman triathlons, half marathons, and countless other races, and you've got yourself a full-blown obsession.
And I think I'm up over 30 states now that I've run in.
And the hardware to prove it.
That big one on my right is my Hawaii Ironman one. That's always my favorite one.
Every race has a story.
Oh, but this was a fun one too.
Carlsbad, California on his 60th birthday. Grandma's marathon in the year 1990.
My wife and I met each other running that marathon, and so that was marathon caused us to be a couple. Yeah, this is the one that my son and I ran together. He was only 15 at the time.
Most of the memories, as you would imagine, are good.
That was his first, and that was his last.
But there's one that almost changed everything.
That's the one where I was in the arrhythmia for the last 6 miles, and that's me kind of struggling near the end there.
Whistle Stop Marathon in Ashland, Wisconsin 4 years ago. After that, it was a stream of cardiologists and medical workups. In April of 2022, David had a Medtronic Cobalt defibrillator implanted.
We have an active lifestyle, my wife and I. We hike, we swim, we bike, we run, we do it all, and the thought that could be taken away from me in my retirement was a very troubling thought.
But instead of taking it away, the defibrillator gave him back the ability to do what he loves. David started small and kept pushing his boundaries and testing his stamina.
I would go into one of these arrhythmias while we were biking, and I would barely even know I was in one. It would fix it so fast. It was just unbelievable.
Then the all clear came. He could run a marathon again. This time, David was seeking redemption, and he got it on October 12th, 2024.
Since Whistle Stop was the race where my heart really misbehaved and where I was really in sad shape finishing, that was the one I wanted to do first, just to prove I can still do it.
He sure can still do it. So now David's biggest worry is finding more room in his marathon scrapbook.
Now I'm fully confident. I've been given permission to do whatever I want to do. And so that's what we're doing. Throw these on. As I say, if you get to the start line, you will get to the finish.
He's very inspiring. Well, here's a good time to bring up a special story. A Western Wisconsin teen who pushed her brother in a wheelchair in her high school cross-country meets is beginning a new chapter. We first told you about Susan and Jeffrey Bergman about 4 years ago. Now we have an update for you. But first, Boyd reshares a story of love between a sister and a brother.
To the uninitiated, a high school cross-country race can appear to be every man for himself.
Chris, you're running great today! Go, Jonathan, go!
The uninitiated would do well to me.
30 seconds.
I'm gonna throw up.
14-year-old Susan Bergman, a Chippewa Falls 9th grader who leaves no one behind.
It helped me get even closer to my brother.
Jeffrey is Susan's older brother by a year. And these are their parents, Jess and Jordan.
When Jeffrey was 22 months old, he suffered a sudden cardiac arrest that caused him to go 20 minutes without adequate oxygen to his brain.
From that point on, Susan's dedication to her brother hasn't wavered.
We just kind of always have had that special close bond.
A bond only strengthened
Come on, Jeffrey.
as they click off the kilometers.
We were trying to figure out a sport or after-school activity he could participate in with me.
Susan took a cue from her parents, both runners, who've included Jeffrey in their races.
He loves running.
But Susan on grass, pushing more than her own body weight through a season's worth of races and practices.
This is really unprecedented.
With coach Roger Skifstad.
Yeah, I was worried. We were all worried.
Everyone worried, but Susan.
Let's go, Susan! Hearing everyone screaming and cheering, it gives me a very big adrenaline rush.
Come on. You got it.
Recognizing the mental and physical strain, Susan's mom suggested maybe run alone.
She looked at me as if I had grown two heads. She was like, this is not an option.
This, says Susan, is a team.
Come on, Jeffrey, let's go. Sometimes I'll look down because I'm going up a hill and I'll see him smiling. Come on, Jeffrey, where are you? I need you right now. Mentally, I just push away the pain. Come on, Jeffrey, where are you? And focus on him enjoying it. All right, there we go.
Well, look at the dedication she has to her brother. That's cool.
We're almost there, let's go!
Then, at the end of every race, one final act of love. When Susan gives Jeffrey the privilege of finishing ahead of her.
Nice, easy run.
A dad joke,
He did excellent.
a little brother's
Jeffrey and Susan did.
affirmation.
You guys were so close to your fastest time. Yeah.
Puts everything in perspective, doesn't it?
Nice job, dude. We're PRing at conference, okay?
In 14th place.
Faster runners will take home medals.
Nice job, Haley!
Susan and Jeffrey will take home a gold bond.
I don't think Susan wants to run up another hill right now.
Boyd Hooper, KARE 11 News, West Salem, Wisconsin.
The bond between sister and brother didn't end there. Susan continued to push Jeffrey in her races for the next 4 years. Then this spring, Susan pushed her brother across the stage as they both graduated from Chippewa Falls High School. They didn't stop running, though. In fact, Susan says she's now running for her brother on the cross-country team at St. Mary's University in Winona, where she's studying to become a physician's assistant. In April, pushed by his father, Jeffrey completed the Boston Marathon. Next month, they'll also compete in the Chicago Marathon. Love that so much. Well, now to basketball. One would think that one of the best ballers would be playing ball on his high school team, but Spring Lake Park's Dylan Haugen wanted to go a different route. Here's Lou Ragus.
In the Spring Lake Park High School gym, Dylan Haugen is not preparing for basketball tryouts.
How old were you when you first dunked?
I was 13.
And how tall were you?
5'8".
The now 17-year-old, 5'11" high school senior quit the team to focus on becoming a professional dunker.
What is it about dunking that attracts you?
It's just the feeling of it, honestly, and also the fact that it's not a team sport. It's just a lot of fun to know that I'm fully in control. It's 100% on me if I lose, and it's 100% on me if I win.
An individual sport mindset on a game within a game, once seen only as a halftime attraction. Dylan participates in dunk contests for prize money, locally and nationally. Already winning 5 against some of the best team basketball players his age.
You can kind of tell that a lot of the times the crowd and them don't really expect me to be the one who comes out there and wins. They're better than me at basketball. I'm better than them at dunking. Head down a little bit more.
Dylan can perform one of his favorite moves, a double up with the help of a friend.
And then we're probably going to have you a little bit forward.
Or even a TV reporter. But at his latest dunk contest victory in Waconia, Dylan took it a step further, putting his brother on a chair.
And you can immediately see the energy in the crowd shift.
Creating a 7-foot assistant for Dylan to leap over to take home first prize.
It's the best feeling in the world. I mean, I plan these things out for weeks, maybe even months.
A viral moment Dylan was more than prepared for.
I've got a podcast, I've got YouTube, Instagram, you name it, all the social medias.
Because he's more than a professional dunker. He's a content creator, already earning money from his videos and beginning to receive inquiries from brands.
Because I feel like I'm very entrepreneurial. I've kind of realized that to get to where I want to be, I'm going to have to do a ton of different things.
The YouTuber started sharing trick shots from his driveway as a young kid, and today shares tips and training for other kids.
Oh, okay.
As well as highlight reels. He plans to continue marketing and brand building after high school, with his focus remaining on his favorite skill.
I do want to and think I have a very good chance to be the best dunker in the world at some point in time.
Lou Raguse, KARE 11 News.
Dylan also has a part-time job with a digital marketing and branding company called Blitz Metrics, whose owner he credits with mentoring him on how to promote his unique skills. Well, still to come, we'll see how a photographer, an artist, and a seamstress are all sharing their talents with our community. But first, here's some of your good news that you shared with us this week. Glenn Johnson sent this in, and on the adorable scale of 1 to 10, I should say, this is a 4,096. This is Oliver patiently waiting for Grandma. I mean, stop it right now. Can you even with that little face?
Like looking out of the driveway.
Oh, Grandma, when are you coming? Grandma must love that, yeah. Right? Pat Hansen sent this in. The RO4C is a nonprofit organization started by my son Troy Hansen after he lost his wife Carrie to ovarian cancer in 2013. They sponsor 3 events yearly. I do believe we had one earlier this year for them. Despite the cool weather and rain, the RO4C annual bike ride was our most successful event to date. We're truly humbled to be able to present our check for $78,880 to 2 people who are fighting cancer, Dave and Jane. Thank you all who attended, who donated, and especially to each of the hard-working crew for putting on another amazing event. Nobody should stand alone. We agree. Thank you guys so much for doing that.
Very cool.
And Janie sent in a picture, a text message actually. It says, Scooby's daddy is being discharged from being hospitalized for 2 weeks, and he let daddy know that he's keeping his spot in the bed warm for him.
Look at that.
Last weekend, thousands of music lovers gathered at Huntington Bank Stadium to celebrate 40 years of Farm Aid. The organization's annual concert, featuring co-founders Willie Nelson, Neil Young, and others, offers only a small glimpse into the life of hardworking farmers who celebrate their industry every day. Our Samantha Fisher went to a local farm ahead of the show to meet the man helping capture the spirit of small farming through the farmer's lens.
They're pretty animals, aren't they? They all have unique personalities, just like people.
Minnesota-based photographer Scott Strebel knows people.
I hate to keep going back to the honor, but it is to be associated with Farm Aid. It's just cool. I'm proud of that.
Scott uses his photos to showcase the work of local farmers across the country for Farm Aid, the annual event marking 4 decades of advocacy. This year, right here in Minnesota.
People are more interested, I think, in where their food comes from than ever.
Co-executive director Jennifer Fahey says its mission is just as relevant now as it was back when it began.
We're hearing, especially from folks who went through the 1980s farm crisis that sparked Farm Aid, that a lot of what they're dealing with right now is very reminiscent of that, and we're once again moving into a period of crisis for farmers.
The event, sparked by a shrinking farming landscape, offered American farmers the resources and support they needed to survive.
The concert is part of really spotlighting those organizations and the work they do so that people here know, oh, these groups in my own backyard are doing this crucial work to make sure I have farmers and farmers markets and good food and clean water and soil. And so helping to make those connections.
Scott helping to connect the people in the best way he knows how.
I realized photography can be used as like a vehicle to help, and so I looked for ways to do that.
Scott's been visiting Stillwater's Thistledown Farm for many years, using his imagery to capture the essence of small farms better than anyone. That's according to third-generation farmer and owner, Jane Malenfant.
I never focused on the beauty of the farm until Scott started to come and take pictures of the farm. Scott is able to capture just the moments, the portraits, the drama, and it helps shift the perspective.
And this year, Scott has the added benefit of home field advantage.
So I show up and, I think the animals recognize me and they're familiar, and that helps make good photos.
Not to mention, it's in his blood.
My grandfather was a dairy farmer. I kind of have a feeling like I'm comfortable being there, and I think part of that is my lineage.
From one like-minded family farmer to another, Scott said he'll milk the opportunity to elevate the industry for all it's worth.
you meet these proud, hardworking farmers and you get a personal tour of their farm. I mean, how good is that? It's really it's a privilege and an honor to do it.
Samantha Fisher reporting there. Our next story is related to tragedy, but as we know, there is often light found in the darkest of times. Recently, students and teachers at Annunciation Catholic School walked back into class almost 3 weeks after the deadly shooting there during an all-school mass. To welcome them, an artist had a beautiful message to share. Here's Michelle Beck.
In the shadows of dawn, Rachel Kwanbeck
I got here about 6:30 this morning.
Is already on hands and knees. Her fingers are chalked with purpose.
Just know that there's still light. I think there's just so much darkness in the world, and especially here, that all of these kids and families have seen.
By the time the sun is up over the Annunciation School, the artist's message,
a future filled with hope,
will be ready to greet students by the doors.
Very right for the moment.
As of Tuesday, they're back on campus grounds, a first in 3 weeks.
I can only imagine what they're coming back to, knowing what happened here and seeing the things they saw that they should never have seen.
Hard to fathom, even by adults, was a shooting in the sanctuary.
I heard the sirens that day. Yeah, I live about a mile away from here.
But the grown-ups have brought back the symbols of childhood.
Hope it brings some smiles today.
Adorning the school from the rear, the front, and the sides. Sidewalks, too, are now chalked by Annunciation's neighbors.
They walk by our houses every day, coming and going to school. So
Tiffany Tomlin-Kurtz and Chrissy Winden added their wishes onto the pavement.
They know they have this giant community around them, supporting them. Coming back today and this week, they can be with their friends, be with their teachers, be with the people who love them.
Guiding the dawn of Annunciation's new era are these words: the future is filled with hope.
Yeah, that's what I hope.
Michelle Beck, KARE 11 News, Minneapolis.
Well, time and talents are equally as important as money when you are in the giving spirit. A Plymouth seamstress embodies that, volunteering for the last 10 years at Catholic Charities Higher Ground. But as Sammy Solina reports, it's time for her to hang it up.
People on the mend. At the Higher Ground residence in Minneapolis,
we mend our lives, we mend our bodies.
Have a number of tools they can turn to.
This job, it requires a lot of patience, like a lot.
Staff and volunteers at Catholic Charities Twin Cities help people experiencing homelessness or transitioning out of it.
She mends our clothes, the things that we wear every day.
Lots to do. Karen Marterdam aids with needle and thread.
It means something to them that we don't see. And so that's what I do, regardless.
She's a volunteer seamstress.
And there we go. That one's done.
Here to ease stress.
Here's the problem.
Of those fighting for a better life.
Some people are kind of hesitant about going to people to get their only pair of pants sewn. She knows, she understands that.
For the past decade.
It means a lot. Yeah.
She has built relationships with the people staying here.
I guess it means that I'm not alone.
1 inch or how many?
2 inches.
And then you come home and Karen's right there and, hey, what's going on?
What do we got today?
Well, this one is pretty simple. It's just a few buttons.
Let's see what I have here.
Karen wanted to find a way to help after she retired from her corporate job in taxes.
When it gets cold, I'd kind of like a button like right in there.
Some trust her with their only heavy coat.
It doesn't really matter if it's perfect or not. It's just better than it was.
But now,
and this is your last day, may God bless you.
She's sowing the seeds of change, deciding to focus on family,
a lot of lake time, and more travel.
And buttoning up her time here.
On to the next one.
Her goal every week was to make garments better than when she got them.
Couldn't it have been like one more week or something?
But the people who wear them are better too.
Give your time, your money, and your energy to just making somebody else's life more comfortable. That's a rare thing these days.
Sammy Solina.
Thanks, Karen.
KARE 11 News.
Good luck. We'll see you. We'll talk to you later.
Hey, maybe somebody will see this and step up and take her place. You just never know. Still to come, we're talking flowers and snow. Not related in any way, but why not? First, though, here's more of your good news that you shared with us this week. Joan Diddy sent in these beautiful faces, her 3 great-grandchildren back on the first day of school. Jashawn starting 8th grade, Olivia in 3rd, and Haley in 1st grade. We do hope the year is going well for you guys and you still have those beautiful smiles on your faces. Kiddos are really cute. Mark Hargesheimer, I hope I'm saying that right, sent in these pics of Kylie and Bella chilling on the deck. Bella's the calico. They're both sweet, he says. And look at her pretty eyes. What a pretty little girl. So cute. Very sweet.
You don't have to question they're sweet.
No,
you just
right?
Can look
you
right
just know.
there.
You can know. And Karen Kaler sent in this. This is a picture of great-grandpa Armin with great-granddaughter baby Grace, daughter of Abby and Mike Kaler. Karen says, she isn't laughing here. I think I caught her right in the middle of a burp. You didn't have to share that. You could have just said she's just a happy, smiley little baby. But how sweet is that? I love the generations of family there. That's awesome. Welcome back. 'Tis the season for change when it comes to our gardens anyway, but the cooler temperatures that are soon to arrive don't mean the end of your blooming season. In this week's Grow with Care, Laura Becker and Bobby Jensen show us some late blooming flowers.
Most people buy their plants in the spring, and when you're there, unless you've got a plan, you're buying what's ever in bloom.
So then we get to this time of the year and you find your garden is green but nothing in bloom. Well, here's a list of very late bloomers that will give you color late in the season.
You know, everybody thinks of hardy mums, goldenrod, asters, and of course sedums, but there's so many other choices.
Zinnias, coneflowers, and rudbeckia are known for blooming long past the dog days of summer.
Full blooming crocus or colchicum is a really wonderful garden surprise.
Calendula can absolutely thrive in the cooler days of fall. And Japanese anemones are so wonderful. My favorite is the grape leaf anemone.
Well, for 2 really tall standout plants, you can't beat Joe Pye weed and Helenium.
And of course, we have to mention blazing stars, fall allium, anise hyssop, and good old-fashioned garden phlox. All great choices as well.
So the next time you're buying plants, think about the fall season.
Or buy them now when they're blooming. Fall is great for planting and you can usually find a good bargain too.
And she loves bargains.
I love a bargain.
And because we love to talk weather here, let's go from flowers to snow, or at least the anticipation for it. 90 new snowplow drivers from across the metro are already preparing for winter. They just held a week-long hands-on training where drivers had the opportunity to navigate cones and barrels and operate controls to simulate real-life conditions.
We want to instill in them the seriousness of going out into the most dangerous conditions possible, while sharing as much gain and knowledge through our seasoned drivers as possible.
So how can we do our part? Simply give them the room they need to do their jobs. And of course, thank you to those folks in advance. And I know not everybody thinks winter is good news, but hey, we're trying to put a positive spin on things here. All right, let's take a final listen to some of your good news that you've shared with us this week. Gretchen sent in these pictures of Betty Joe, a 2.5-year-old miniature schnauzer. She says Betty Joe has a 3-level charging station. She loves the sun.
You know what we call that?
What?
That's a sundog.
Deb Cerny says our beautiful youngest daughter, Ellen, got engaged in Sitka, Alaska last week. By the way, her beautiful ring was her mother's. So I love that family history passed down. Congrats to you.
Sitka is a beautiful area. Look at that picture.
I know. Unbelievable. I've never been, but Terry says my sister Penny Isaacson in New Brighton viewed this in her backyard while taking out her dog Oliver for last call after the Vikings win against Cincinnati. Go Vikings.
I was thinking, is that a freeze frame of a lightning strike? No, it's a purple tree.
It's just a purple tree. It's a light from underneath, but it looks incredibly impressive there.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us for Your Good News. If you'd like to share your good news with us, we do it every day at the end of our 4 p.m. newscast. All you got to do is send us an email to yourgoodnews@kare11.com. Be sure to add pictures or video of whatever it is that you'd like to share. There is no good news that is too big or too small. If you've beat cancer or you just added a furry friend to your family, we want to hear about it. All right, until we see you again, have an excellent week, friends.